you, Maxilius, for bringing in Pandora's Box. We'll see you a little bit later for some fun. Okay, so this is the Pandora's Box, and we are going to delve into the conversation by using certain prompts. And now I've asked each of you to bring a special item, and I was going to start with you, Charmaine. You know, I was going to start with Charmaine and see what you shared. But I think, Karen, you have a really, you've brought this book here, and I love the title, right? Self-Love, What They Forget to Tell You. And I see that you're actually the author of the book. So it's not only that you're bringing it to add to the conversation, you've already had a conversation. What is this conversation about?
So as I said earlier, my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2000. Again, I was in the sandwich generation. I had a newborn. And I had to navigate how to live with this disease in my home.
Right.
And become an informal caregiver. And so I began journaling, and as a cathartic process for me.
Right.
And as I would find out new resources along the way, I would interject them into this journal of mine, and then it became a living document. So I published my first book in 2014, and it was entitled Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You.
Oh, that's fun.
So then
I saw what you did there.
I saw what you
did there.
So that became like this, this is like the series that, what they forget to tell you. And it was a spin-off. I'm aging myself. Well, everyone knows now. But when I was younger, I was fascinated with these Tell Me Why books. So these Tell Me Why books would be about like animals, electricity, and then everything was in these books.
I remember those books.
Right. And so now we have Google, so they don't need that.
Right.
So I thought of a series of what do they, like the same thing that we're actually speaking about today. It's sort of like a spin-off of
exactly
what they don't tell you. So it's those difficult conversations. And yeah, the first book, actually when people did read it, I heard feedback, it was like raw and thank you, because people don't talk about the ugly side of dementia.
Right. And as I'm getting older, and I see that, once we start to get closer to the 50s and the 60s, and we do become our parents' caregivers, there's a lot of things that you are just learning, just by being thrown into the fire.
Right.
And so this conversation might help other women that are in the same age group that find themselves in the same situation, and hopefully we can illuminate some of the strategies and the suggestions that we have.
So
okay.
After that, I wrote another book, which is more textbook.
Oh.
It's called Dementia and the Brain, What They Forget to Tell You. Because not educating people on not only can you get dementia from like genetics,
right?
You can get it from other sources.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then it became a living document. So this sort of was why it's important to me, is because now that I'm on the other side and I'm exhaling out of this journey,
right?
I'm processing, like I'm grieving, I'm processing the loss, and I'm figuring out who I am,
right?
Not as a caregiver, and a wife, a mother,
right?
Who's Karen? And so I'm getting back to me.
Yeah.
And this was the journey.
I love that. I love that we're having a conversation about dementia and Alzheimer's, because it can strip away, where you give something to one area of your life, there are other areas that get neglected. And so because this is Cocktales, we are going to get into some of the cocktail type stories of the impacts of having to care for somebody older than you. And from both of you having to, raise children, one with autism, one a new parent, that time is very traumatizing. And the one thing I will take from what you just said is, an old professor of mine, Horace Enriquez, he once told me about aging. He's from Guyanese, but he's like Portuguese, but he's Guyanese. Hilarious man. He said to me, as we get older, it has a lot to do with what we want to hold on to, not what we want to lose. And that always stood out to me. And from hearing your stories already, I can kind of get a sense that you do want to, keep on holding on to things, because we lose so many as we get older. Yeah, I can totally get that. And what about you, Miss Fifi? Oh, no, actually, you're getting away with too much here.
Okay.
Can we flip it up here? I know that this is what you put in here. What in the hell is this? Can somebody please tell me what the hell is this. Do I dare even open it? You can open it. I don't want to open it.
Okay, so this is actually it's quite controversial.
Oh.
To many, they might think, okay, like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
But what this is a sex toy.
What?
Yes, and it's called the We Vibe.
The We Vibe.
Now, it's not meant, right now, I'm not meant to get all kinky or anything like that. And there's a purpose to why I put this in the Pandora's box.
Wait, you just said you're not supposed to get kinky?
No, in this forum.
Oh, okay, here. Because I'm like,
kinky in this forum.
Listen, that is very important information for me to know. Because as I get closer to 60, I plan on still enjoying that part of my life.
So now, when you first spoke about storytelling and things that our aunties and our mothers and our grandmothers, what did they tell you, and that they passed along, that has actually impacted you?
Right.
Coming and being raised from Jamaican Caribbean parents, unfortunately, I was never told about
vibrators.
Sex.
Oh,
no, sex.
Forget vibrators. You haven't even told that.
Yeah. No. So basically, I was sexually awkward as a young woman, and the only thing that my mother did pass down to me and teach me was that you're supposed to, treat your man really good, cook for him, clean for him, and there was never anything about you as a woman and being pleasured sexually.
Right.
It was, you have sex with your man and you just make sure he enjoys it. And
wow.
We also were raised, I'm a woman from a particular generation, that we are not supposed to feel pleasure when we're having sex. It's just basically about pleasing the man, but we're not supposed to experience it, pleasure. And if we do, then there's all kinds of labels placed on you. You then you're a whore, you're a slut, if you start to enjoy having sex, you're a freak.
Right.
So it's very interesting because I didn't learn much from my mother or my grandmother, but I learned so much from my daughter, she's 32, and she does a podcast, and it's called the Nympho Diaries. Yes.
She's my twin soul, I think.
So basically what I've learned from her is that as women, we need to be able to take back our sexuality, and we have to be able to own it. And having a man is great for companionship and for sexual pleasure, but it's not the be all to end all. And we need to be able to know if we understand what pleases us and if we are able to pleasure ourselves, then we should be able to, when you have that partner, you should be able to, the dance of sex and intimacy, it's a beautiful thing. So, and I think also we do get caught up as women, where I'm not going to bother. Why? What? A vibrator? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm good. I just need a man in order to feel good sexually. And
I kind of like both.
Yeah, it's good to, and this is actually good for couples as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but
it's in a neat little package. Like,
you want? Should I?
What does it look like?
So,
what?
Yeah. So,
first of all, I love the color.
Yes.
And I'm not experienced, so I don't know which part's going where. I don't get what's going on there.
I'm not going to do that tutorial. Okay. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like. But in terms of getting back to your partners and men, and generally sexually, many women, they choose the wrong partners because all they think about is, you know what, I'm horny, I need sex, and he looks good, and that's where...
I have a word for that.
Yeah.
I think this is the one. What does it say?
Thirsty.
Thirsty as fuck. That's what this is about. Thirsty AF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That we fall into these thirst traps of loneliness and wanting to belong. And then next thing you know, you're tolerating things in your life that has no business being there, but you're thirsty, so you go drink it.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you said that.
That's real.
That's a typical thing, because we just basically, you know what, I'm horny, and this guy, he looks good. He bought me a couple of drinks the other day.
Wow.
And you know what,
a couple of drinks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, you know, go for it. And then what happens is you're left on, it's an unfulfilling relationship, because you feel that he's supposed to pleasure me, and it's just not working out. So on to the next. You know, this guy didn't work out well. He didn't pleasure me sexually. So
that becomes the standard. That becomes the standard. And then
it goes on and on and on that way.
Wait, that still exists in the 60s? In the late 50s, early 60s, this I still have to deal with this?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, guys, you got to do your part of the story, man. Like, come on, I can't do all of the healing for the whole relationship.
Yeah.
What are you saying? You're saying that she's 24 having the same experience?
I thought it was going to get better.
No, because you're okay. So there's that narrative of women of my age that feel that you need a man in order to feel fulfilled sexually. So what happens is they don't feel that they can actually, they're embarrassed to know what it's like to pleasure themselves. They feel that, oh, I can't do that. I need a man. And then what happens is they fall into that trap, and that thirsty trap. And then, you know, then they're finding that they're, you know, because a man is a man. You know what? You're offering sex. You know, I'll take it.
Wow.
And so what happens is you're dealing with men that are, you know, quite possibly already married, and you know, they're just,
quite possibly. Yeah. Let me tell you a story. Since we're sharing stories, let me tell you, I was married for 16 years, and one of the first dates I had met somebody at a wedding. We went for lunch. We shared these wonderful little, you know, anecdotes about our life. He had children. I was like, wow, why did you never, you know, get married? It sounds like you would have been a great father. And he said to me, and you may want to come in real close for this one. He said, what makes you think I'm not married? What? We're at lunch. You didn't even give me the option to be like, first of all, he wasn't hot enough for me to even consider it. I was being nice, being on the date. First of all, that's what I personally thought, you know, I don't know. But anyway, he didn't even give me the option. And what this man said to me was, what makes you think I'm not married? And that continues till now, because I either meet very young men, because I'm still kind of in the middle, and I'm youthful. So I meet younger men who, you know, if they do actually like me and don't just want the MILF experience, they want me to have children. I'm not having children unless you can construct me back with plastic surgery the way I came to you, or, you know, got a private chef, or, you know, a sleep nanny, because I need my beauty rest if you're going to continue to, you know, enjoy the fruits of my labor. You understand? Yes. So that's not going to happen. So I find myself stuck. And then men my age are usually married or definitely looking to have an affair, because they've probably been there with their partner for 20 odd years. And they're just like, yeah. And I'm older and I'm youthful. So they're like, no, this is too much fun. I'm going to have too much fun with this one. And so there's nothing really left. And the more I learn to love myself, the more I realize that I can see why there's so many women alone, you know, because to really honor and love yourself requires boundaries. And, when the other side doesn't respect the boundary, or, you know, they don't even know what boundaries are, and we are often falling into a lot of codependent relationships. To think that you have codependent relationships in the 60s, that's a little disheartening.
And it dovetails into Karen's book about self-love.
Yes.
And that's self-love on the whole. That's about nurturing your mind, your body, and your spirit. And it's about, you know what, if you're able to pleasure yourself and be good with that, then that's okay. And if you find a partner, and that partner, you based on what you know about yourself, and you know what you want sexually, right? Men love that. Men love that you are already experienced and you know what you want, and you're like that map, and you just basically just here, like do, you know, they don't want to do all the work.
Yeah, you blew up Pandora's box with that story, boy.
Yeah, well,
You've killed the 24-year-old's dreams. Can I just ask you, Fifi, what is your experience? You know, let's see. What is it that you have captured here? Because I know you wrote something.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, naturally, I am a poet.
Yes.
And so I brought a poem.
You brought a poem. Perfect. Would you like to pass that to Fifi? Are you going to read it to us?
I can.
Sure. Let's hear it. Let's hear the poem.
You know?
So this poem says what? What does it mean to you?
This poem was an introspective look into my relationship with my mother, basically, and how that kind of spoke to my relationship with other people, with men, with women, with people around me, with myself especially.
Yeah.
So that's what this kind of speaks to.